Alright, I'm not into wrestling, and to take it to even further extent, I'm not into combat sport. I just disagree with all of that. I think it's just a very violent way of playing with this egoistic mentality. Um, just don't agree with it. And the people that think that they're like the best athletes in the world, I think they're deranged. I don't believe that they're the best athletes in the world. Um, I'm much more impressed with gymnasts than I am with wrestlers. Okay, I'm not into the thing where you're wearing all these tights and stuff, especially in the lower body when it comes to men. But you got the wrestlers that do that, wearing these tights and leotards. I'm not down with that. But gymnasts, they wear that stuff too. I'm not into that. But as far as their demonstration of athletic ability, I think gymnasts are just absolutely amazing in what they could do. They're an inspiration to me, and how they could do things with their bodies that a lot of people cannot do, and they're not hurting anybody. And the beauty of it is also that not only can men be very proficient in gymnastics, but women as well. Women have their own way of doing gymnastics that's very graceful and is very beautiful in how they express it. So I highly promote gymnastics over wrestling. And wrestlers are athletic, but gymnasts are athletic, and so are basketball players and football players and track runners. There's a lot of athletic people out there. There's a lot of talented people out there. I choose to promote and encourage people um, to be inspired by sports that are not as violent, as wrestling. And that's just what I promote. I mean, I'm just not into combat sport at all. I just don't like the idea of like like watching and enjoying seeing somebody completely destroy another human being with no mercy. I'm just not into that. But I'm very much into sparring and analyzing and experimenting with um, efficiency in combat. I'm into sparring. I'm into the science of combat, but I'm not into combat sport. That is not the science of combat. That is just um, combat turned, aimed towards entertainment and profit. The science of combat is not about profit. It's not about entertainment. It's just about what works, and what's efficient for your survival. So, um, I mean, you're talking about real violence, you're talking about gun violence. There's nothing fancy or pretty about that. It's just something that's just real. Pulling a trigger and taking somebody's life is can happen in a flash, and it happens very quickly, and it's not for entertainment. It's just the reality of modern day warfare. And that's what I choose to focus my attention on, is efficiency in combat, for real life situations encountered on the streets, not for entertainment. But I don't enjoy fighting. um, I don't enjoy real fighting, and I don't enjoy watching people in combat sport. But I do love studying the science of combat, and constantly striving towards reaching, towards perfection in that expression. But as I stated, I would much rather promote people to look, towards, being athletic is a great thing, being highly fit is a great thing, but I would much rather promote people towards being inspired by gymnasts and people that have reached a high level of athletic fitness than I do with wrestlers. Wrestlers, you notice they can't demonstrate their talents unless they're pinning somebody to the ground, and that's very unartistic. That's destructive. If you have to pin somebody to the ground to demonstrate your talent, then I think I don't respect that. I mean, you should be able to demonstrate your talent without having to put somebody else below you, or hurt somebody else. I even respect bodybuilders more than I do wrestlers, because bodybuilders are not hurting other people physically. They're just on stage flexing their muscles, and then they get the attention that they want to get. They try to, then they satisfy the ego that has that craving to get attention, and they go on about their way. But wrestlers, you notice, wrestlers and boxers and fighters, they have to beat somebody down in order to quench their ego thirst, in order to make them feel so great about themselves, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. If people want to study like real combat, I feel that paintballing is a lot more real than wrestling. Even if you go competing with paintball guns and you do it in a safe way, that's a lot more real than wrestling, because that's the reality of how modern day warfare is gun violence and killing somebody from a distance, not like all up close and personal, and with all these different rounds and all this crap. I'm not into that. I'm not into watching men molest each other or roll around the ground with each other. I'm not into that. I'd rather watch porn. I'd rather I'd rather watch something else. Watch a movie or something. I don't understand how people could find joy in watching men molest each other on a wrestling mat. Just not into that. It's just not me. You know what I'm saying? Rather than watching men fight, I'd rather watch two women make love or something, or a woman and a man make love. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's just my style. That's what I like. But it doesn't mean that everybody likes what I like. Some people like country music. I don't. I got my certain taste in music, and it's not the music that you find on the radio. It's music that you find underground. It's music that you find on YouTube. It's music that you find from the average person on the street who just loves music and he expresses it. That's the type of music that I like. I'm not into what everybody else is into. So, but if they like that stuff, that's what they like. But that's not what I like.